As the one-finned demon stabs Aang and moves closer to him, Aang reasons that it is his only chance to find a weakness, perhaps in its joints. Acting on his instincts, he launches a counterattack and manages to tear off one of the demon's limbs. The demon lets out a pained scream, and Aang smirks, remarking that it shouldn't have underestimated him. He points out that it is just a one-finned demon and that he has killed many others of its level before. However, the demon retaliates, kicking Aang and hurling him against a wall. To Aang's shock, the severed limb begins fusing back with the demon. It remarks that while Aang has identified its weakness, it is a wood-type demon with a red wood core, which gives it the ability to mend itself. Aang, who is now weakened, can hardly believe what he is seeing. In his previous life, only green core demons are capable of healing themselves. He begins to wonder if demons have evolved in the half-century since his death. The demon approaches Aang, accusing him of being the one who has underestimated it. Using its powers, it drags Aang closer and admits it still doesn't understand his true identity. Meanwhile, Aang, feeling completely drained, realizes the attack has likely punctured his internal organs. The pain is so intense he can barely breathe. Frustration wells up inside him as he reflects on his situation, lamenting that he has only just reincarnated and is already on the verge of death. His eyes fall on his teammates who lie tied up and unconscious, and he is reminded of his comrades from his previous life, who die right in front of him. Regret fills him as he silently apologizes to his current team before succumbing to unconsciousness. The demon, seeing Aang motionless, assumes he is dead and mocks him as a weak human. It then begins to wonder if consuming Aang might help it evolve. Just as it decides to act on this thought, another presence makes itself known. A voice questions whether it truly intends to devour Aang. The demon within Aang suddenly intervenes, shoving him away from danger. It mutters in frustration that Aang can't die there, not like that, as it would ruin all its carefully laid plans. It adds, almost bitterly, that it can't believe the last fragment of its consciousness has to be used in such a way. The monster that wants to eat Aang suddenly becomes fearful as it senses the overwhelming and terrifying presence of another demon. This other demon begins to take control of Aang's body, enveloping him in a red aura that heals his injuries as it merges with him. As the demon gains full control, Aang's body undergoes a transformation. Its limbs and fins extend, and the red aura intensifies, bursting upward from the underground into the sky in a massive wave. The powerful surge draws the attention of all the demons in the vicinity, but they are instantly annihilated by its sheer force. Once it has fully emerged, the demon addresses the one-finned creature, declaring itself as the only 8-finned demon in existence, the strongest being of the Crimson Crystal, and its rightful king. Hearing this, the one-finned demon falls to its knees in submission and bows deeply, referring to the other demon as the Crimson-Finned King. Yao Tang, Aang and his teammate's supervisor, is still searching for them in the city. He encounters several demons along the way and easily defeats them. As he finishes patrolling the area, he thinks to himself that there are only two finned demons left nearby. However, it seems that the children are not with them. He glances around, reasoning that he has no choice but to continue looking for them and needs to find them before nightfall. Just as he is about to leave, the red aura suddenly spreads across the sky, catching his attention. He wonders what the energy wave is. As the aura gradually dissipates, Yao Tang's gaze shifts to the direction from which the aura burst, and he notices a hole leading underground. A thought crosses his mind, and he wonders if the children might be down there. Meanwhile, the one-finned demon continues to kneel before the Crimson-Finned King. The Crimson-Finned King, deep in thought, remarks that it never imagines the sky will remain as dark as it was before. It then asks the one-finned demon if the demon lords are still the same 5, ever since its disappearance. The one-finned demon timidly confirms that it is still the 5 kings and that their positions have remained unchanged. The Crimson-Finned King laughs, commenting that it seems they are all living peacefully with one another. It then says that they must have forgotten what they did to him 60 years ago. The Crimson-Finned King continues, explaining that it chose Aang's body as its container because Aang was supposedly the human's strongest soldier. However, after reincarnating, it is greatly disappointed to find Aang's body so weak. It expresses frustration, saying that this is the last fragment of its consciousness and that it has been wasted in such a ridiculous situation. The Crimson-Finned King reasons that if it were to make a true appearance again, it would likely only be at the time of its complete awakening. It then mutters aloud that it needs to wait for Aang to slowly awaken and understand the memories of the Finns. The one-finned demon overhears the crimson-finned king and timidly asks if the king is referring to the memories they use when evolving. The crimson-finned king explains that fins are a prominent feature on their bodies, and the number of fins indicates their strength. The more fins they have, the higher their level. The leader of their dark clan, he explains, has recently grown new fins. Evolution, he adds, requires these fin memories, a unique ability specific to their kind. This is the very reason their race has always been superior to others. However, the Crimson Fin King points out that Aang, for now, is no different from any other demon. While demons have to devour beings of the same level to evolve, Aang has a different path. He needs to devour someone stronger than himself to understand and obtain the fin memories, thus allowing him to evolve. The one-fin demon, filled with devotion, declares that it will support the Crimson-Finned King in every way, even offering to be his right and left arm. But the Crimson-Finned King kills it, stating that the one-finned demon is only worthy of such a fate. He adds that its sole purpose is to help Aang awaken the memory of the first fin. Before it dies, the Crimson-Finned King infuses the one-finned demon's essence into Aang, telling him that this is the first step he has prepared for him. He warns that Aang should not disappoint him as he levels up, for the king needs Aang to awaken step by step, all the way to the 8th fin. As the Crimson-Finned King finally detaches from Aang's body, Aang collapses to the ground. The king's voice echoes, saying that when the time comes, he will awaken from his slumber. The essence of the one-finned demon is absorbed into Aang's monster core and mixed with the king's blood, encasing it all inside Aang's body. Aang recalls a moment from his past life, where an injured soldier, holding on to life, calls him king and begs him not to let him die, explaining that someone is waiting for his return. Aang, also injured, reassures the soldier that he will survive and promises to get them all out of that place. But the soldier, with a pained look on his face, grabs Aang's hand and whispers that they are already dead. He asks, with a twisted expression, why Aang is the only one still alive. Suddenly, Aang wakes up in a room, feeling a wave of relief as he realizes it has all been a dream, a memory from his past life. His teammates enter, visibly relieved and happy that he is awake. However, Suiju notices something unusual about Aang. Part of his hair has changed color. She asks him if the change is a result of the demonic door. Aang, still disoriented and panicking, doesn't understand what she means. He is more focused on how close she is standing to him. He asks anxiously if they are all okay, then recalls that they had been taken to the one-fin demon's cave. Just then, Yao Tang, who overhears Aang's words as he enters the room, remarks that it seems Aang remembers something. He enters with 2 other captains, Kiao Ir and Zhao, and instructs Aang to tell them about what happened in the cave. Aang is caught off guard when he sees the other captains waiting outside the city walls. It is unusual for them to gather like this, and their presence clearly revolves around him. His curiosity gets the better of him, and he turns to Yao Tang, asking why they are all there. Before Yao Tang can respond, Jiao steps forward to explain. She tells Aang that Yao Tang has brought back 4 children to the city, which has caused quite a stir. Kiao Er joins the conversation, adding more details to the story. He explains that they found the children lying unconscious outside a cave. It is a tense situation, but they are grateful for one thing, that the one-finned demon, a dangerous creature, is nowhere to be seen. Chiao Ir points out that if the demon had been nearby, it would have been nearly impossible for them to bring the children back safely to the city. As Zhao hands Aang a small mirror, she urges him to take a look at his hair. She then explains what has happened while he was unconscious. His teammates, who woke up before him, cannot recall anything about their time in the cave. The strange thing is that Aang is the only one who remained in a coma, and he is the only one who seems to have undergone noticeable changes. She tells him to think carefully and try to remember anything that might help them understand what happened. When Aang looks into the mirror, his eyes widen in shock. A part of his front hair has turned white, and he has no idea how or why. The change unnerves him, and his mind races as he tries to piece together the events that led to this. Since his reincarnation, everything feels different, like the world isn't the same as before. He tries to focus on what he can remember. The last clear memory he has is of being attacked and then losing consciousness. After that, everything is blank. He cannot figure out what might have happened to him during the time he was unconscious. A thought crosses his mind, that if he should tell them the truth about his reincarnation, but it feels like a risky move. They might not believe him, or worse, it could create more problems than it solves. After weighing the idea for a moment, he decides against it. Instead, he chooses to share a vague version of what he remembers. He tells them that he briefly woke up at some point and has a faint recollection of being taken to a cave. Yao Tang's expression suggests he isn't entirely convinced by Aang's explanation. This leaves Yao Tang wondering if he is overthinking the situation or if something more is at play. He cannot shake the memory of the cave, especially the horrifying image of a wall splattered with blood. The sight haunts him, and he cannot stop questioning what might have caused it. In a relaxed movement, Qiaoyer shifts his seat closer to Aang. He casually mentions that Aang shares the same name as a legendary warrior, which is quite intriguing. He then notes that after seeing the results of Aang's various tests, it's clear his foundation is weak. However, when Aang fought against the demons, he appeared remarkably calm. Qiaoyer leans in slightly and asks with curiosity if Aang has ever fought a demon before. Aang quickly shakes his head, denying any prior experience. He explains that he's only deeply interested in fighting, so he dedicated time to studying demons. By gathering details and analyzing the weaknesses of different types of demons, he prepared himself theoretically. Jiao chimes in with a playful comment. Observing that Aang seems to be the theory type, she adds that someone like him is worth cultivating, turning to Yao Tang and suggesting that he nurture such a promising warrior. Aang, reminded of the tests, asks about his results. Suiju reassures him with a smile, saying that he passed the warrior test and that their team remains intact. Sinuo, another teammate, offers her perspective, saying their accident could only be attributed to fate and that it was Yao Tang who decided to form them into a team. Lu, the last member of the group, cuts in with a reminder. She points out that compared to other teams, they are already lagging behind. Curious and slightly concerned, Aang asks what she means. Yao Tang explains that a team must pass tests to qualify for missions and start earning points. However, because Aang has been unconscious for 3 days, their team currently has 0 points. Aang, stunned, barely registers the explanation. Instead, he is fixated on the shocking revelation that he has been in a coma for 3 whole days. Later, the team is seen walking through the city, preparing for their first mission. Yao Tang leads the way as they move through bustling streets, and they notice the curious stares of the townspeople. Whispers ripple through the crowd, with people marveling at how young the warriors look. Some point at them, murmuring their thoughts about the team's youthfulness and wondering if they can handle the challenges ahead. Eventually, the group stops at a designated location, and Yao Tang turns to address them. His tone shifts to a mix of pride and seriousness as he begins by congratulating them for officially becoming warriors and at the same time, being able to return safely after facing a one-finned demon. He pauses briefly, allowing his words to sink in, then continues. The 4 of you have been grouped together and placed under my care. That means I am your captain, responsible for guiding and looking after your team. His gaze sweeps across the group as he adds, I'm currently in charge of 9 teams. My hope is that you will stand out and prove yourselves among them. Aang is perplexed and asks Yao Tang what he means by saying they should stand out. He starts comparing the current system to how things were done in the past. Back then, the process of becoming a warrior was straightforward. Once they earned the title, they were sent straight to the battlefield. Strength and recognition as a warrior came from fighting and killing demons, not from point systems or rankings. Sinuo interrupts Aang's train of thought, asking if he has ever heard of the small team point ranking. Aang looks even more confused, prompting Lu to chime in with a hint of irritation. She reasons that Aang is clearly a newbie who knows nothing about the current system, but she warns him not to drag her down. She reminds him that their team is currently ranked at the bottom, which doesn't sit well with her. Yao Tang steps in to clarify. He explains that standing out refers to their performance in the small team point rankings. The purpose of having captains in charge of multiple teams is to foster healthy competition. This system is designed to motivate teams to improve and achieve their best. He elaborates further, saying that since he is in charge of 9 teams, Aang's team will need to compete with the other 8. Points can be earned by completing missions of varying difficulty levels. The more points they earn, the higher their ranking will be. Yao Tang emphasizes that the top 2 teams under each captain will qualify for a small team competition, where prizes await the winners. However, Yao Tang also explains the consequences of underperformance. Just as there are rewards for the best teams, there are penalties for the lowest ranking ones. Each captain will have a last-place team, and their punishment is to be demoted to the cleaning crew. Those teams must wait until the second month to try again, competing against the next batch of last-place teams for a chance to rejoin active missions. Turning his attention back to Aang's team, Yao Tang announces that Lu, who scored the highest points in the warrior test, will be their team leader. He then asks if everyone agrees with the decision. Sinuo smiles, nodding in agreement. "I believe she's meticulous and capable, so I have no objections," he says. Suiju follows suit, agreeing without hesitation. "She's strong, so I have no objections either," she adds. Aang, on the other hand, feels a surge of frustration. He silently questions why they didn't choose him. After all, in his mind, he is the strongest warrior humanity has ever known, yet he keeps his thoughts to himself for now. Meanwhile, Lu steps forward confidently. She addresses the team, assuring them that they will successfully complete their missions. Inside, however, she is ecstatic. She reasons that there was no one else more qualified to lead than her. The pride she feels is matched by a determination to prove herself and solidify her position as the team leader. Yao Tang turns to leave the group, reminding them that it is still afternoon and they have time to decide on a mission. He advises them to check the point standings of the other teams to understand where they stand. He also mentions that they need to get accustomed to their nanoing battle suits in actual combat and tells them to find him if they face any problems, and with that, he dismisses the group. Lu takes charge, suggesting that they head to the mission board immediately. She points out that they are already 3 days behind other teams in points and stresses the need to work harder to catch up. However, Suiju loudly interrupts her, saying there is something important they need to do first. Lu asks what Suiju is referring to, her thoughts racing with worry. She wonders if she has forgotten something crucial, fearing it could harm her reputation as a capable leader. To her relief, Suiju explains that they should take their first official team photo before anything else. The group then poses together, capturing their unity and determination in a photograph. Meanwhile, Yao Tang meets with Qiao Er and Jiao to discuss his concerns about the recent events. Jiao points out that he said the demons without fins found there had exploded, and Yao Tang confirms this and says there was unknown demons' blood splattered within the cave. Qiao Er questions whether Yao Tang is implying that the children were responsible for what happened. Yao Tang admits that he is particularly suspicious of Aang, explaining that his sensitive nose picks up a familiar yet unidentifiable stink whenever Aang is nearby. Jiao dismisses Yao Tang's concerns, teasing him that he is overthinking things and should focus on ensuring his team doesn't fall behind hers. Despite Jiao's lighthearted comment, Qiao Er takes Yao Tang's suspicions seriously. She suggests keeping a close watch on Aang and asks Yao Tang to inform them immediately if he notices anything unusual. At the city center's mission board, Aang's excitement is evident as his eyes land on 3 rank missions displayed prominently. His mind races with possibilities as he recalls that completing each rank mission will earn them 10 points. The potential to earn such a substantial number of points in one go thrills him. Sinuo and Suiju notice Aang's enthusiasm and take a moment to explain. They inform him that rank missions are the highest level assignments they are allowed to take as a rookie team. Suiju adds that the 3 remaining rank missions are likely still unclaimed because they are also the most difficult. Sinuo nods in agreement, pointing out that the challenges involved in rank missions usually deter most teams. As Lu listens to the conversation, Sinuo expands on the ranking system. He explains that, compared to rank missions worth 10 points, B-rank missions only offer 6 points, while C-rank missions yield a modest 3 points. Although rank missions are undeniably the most rewarding, they come with significant risks. Sinuo emphasizes that B and C rank missions are safer and more secure, whereas rank missions frequently result in severe casualties. Hearing this, Lu steps forward toward the board, saying if that's the case, they should take them all, and she swiftly pulls down the mission instructions for all 3 ranked tasks. Aang and his teammates run outside the city borders to start their mission. He activates the nanoring battle suit and is amazed by its advanced features. Curious, he imagines the nanoring transforming into a weapon. In response, the ring disassembles and reassembles into a dagger. Aang reflects on how much technology has progressed over the past 60 years. Lu asks if the team is ready, and after they confirm, she briefs them on their mission to eliminate 2 no-fin demons in one swift strike. As they approach the demons, Lu reminds them to stick to the plan. The team follows her instructions, but their movements alert the demons. Lu quickly assesses the situation, knowing they still have 3 more ranked missions to complete and can't afford to waste time. The plan begins with Sinuo blocking the demons' line of sight. Then, Aang and Suju move in to immobilize them, causing the demons to collapse. Sinuo takes the lead, delivering a series of powerful punches to the monsters. Meanwhile, Lu showcases her skills by channeling her energy into her dagger, binding the demons. With one final move, the bound demons explode, marking the mission's success. As the fog clears, Sinuo feels relieved that the mission is finally complete. He remarks that dispelling the fog was much harder than the mission they faced during their examination. True to the difficulty of an A-rank mission, it took them a long time to finish. Suju informs the group that one of the demons dropped a red core. Lu acknowledges everyone's hard work, adding that they've earned 10 points. Meanwhile, Aang is distracted as the mission document they just completed destroys itself automatically. Suju explains that the technology is focused on monitoring demons, and there's a system tied to the points leaderboard in the city. Once a mission is completed, the leaderboard is updated with the points earned. Suju checks their remaining missions and notes that they still need to capture 3 no-fin demons alive and collect 10 no-fin demon cores. She admits both tasks seem difficult, especially since they spent the entire afternoon battling no-fin demons and only managed to obtain 3 cores. Feeling discouraged, she reflects on how challenging the missions are. Sinuo reminds her that it won't be easy since other teams are also working hard to earn points. Lu then gathers their attention and says she will review their plan. She encourages them to finish the 2 remaining A-rank missions so they can take on more and aim straight for the top. Her motivational words lift Suju and Sinuo's spirits, giving them renewed energy to keep going. Sinuo asks Aang for his opinion, and Aang responds that they're doing fine, but with other squads likely working hard to earn points, it'll be tough to catch up unless they speed up. He adds that, no matter the situation, the early bird always gets the worm, and standing idle won't achieve anything. Reflecting inwardly, Aang muses that after living over half a century across 2 lifetimes, he thought his heart would be hardened. Yet, spending time with his team has rekindled a sense of youthful passion within him. Feeling energized, he suggests they complete another mission before sunset. Sinuo and Suju enthusiastically agree, but Lu silently laments that Aang beat her to deliver such a motivational line. Before long, the team successfully captures 3 no-fin demons alive, though they're left exhausted. Lu notes that they've run out of tranquilizers used for capturing the demons, reminding them that each team was only given a limited supply of special bullets. Catching Aang glancing at the gun, Lu asks if he really needs her to explain everything. She then elaborates that the weapon is a demon tranquilizer gun made with nanoparticles. Like the dagger, it's a beginner weapon preset for the nanoring, but creating and using it is much more complicated. Aang reflects on how far things have come, noting that they can now use tranquilizers to capture demons. In the past, they had to subdue them with brute force, which often caused permanent brain damage to the demons, leading to constant complaints from the researchers. Sinuo adds that it's a relief they managed to finish capturing the demons alive before running out of tranquilizer bullets, completing the mission. He recalls how they had to wipe out an entire group of demons just to capture 3. Suju reminds everyone that warriors must return to the city before sunset, or they'll face punishment for being late. She suggests they all head home for dinner. This makes Aang wonder if the current version of himself even has a home to return to. Before he can dwell on it, Lu interrupts his thoughts, explaining that they just need to use the locating system to send the coordinates to the researchers. The mission will be marked as complete once the researchers retrieve the demons. Suddenly, Aang asks if they feel a murderous aura. Without warning, bullets are fired, killing the demons they had just captured. A voice rings out, declaring that he can't let them complete the mission. The team looks around in alarm, demanding to know who is there. A group of warriors appears, led by another team leader. He confronts them, asking if they're the rookie squad that took all the A-rank missions from the mission board. He then angrily questions who allowed them to take those missions, revealing his team had planned to claim them instead. Aang asks the group who they are, and the leader introduces them as Black Gun, a squad that joined Ya Tang during the last assessment. He adds that, in simpler terms, they are Liu's team's seniors and one of the 9 squads under Ya Tang. Turning to one of his teammates, the Black Gun leader asks how many rookie squads joined Ya Tang. She replies that there are 3. The leader then looks back at Liu's team and accuses them of being rebellious for not showing respect to their seniors. Liu's team glares at them angrily as the Black Gun members approach, accusing them of taking all the A-rank missions without seeking their seniors' approval, implying they don't take them seriously. Lu, furious, retorts that they worked hard to capture the demons, but the Black Gun leader dismisses her. He demands to know who their leader is and why she hasn't led her squad to greet them properly. In an instant, Lu rushes at him and kicks, but he dodges the attack just in time. Outraged, he asks how she dares to attack her seniors. Lu moves to strike again, shouting that he has no right to call himself her senior, but Sinuo and Suju restrain her, urging her not to act rashly. They remind her that the Black Gun are still their seniors and suggest trying to talk things out instead. Suju addresses the Black Gun leader, accusing him of being unreasonable, especially for killing the demons they had worked so hard to capture. The leader smirks and asks how he's being unreasonable, claiming this is just how competition works, and that Lu's team must be naive to think otherwise. Lu grows even angrier, but with Sinuo and Suju still holding her back, she reflects on how the Black Gun ruined the mission they had poured so much effort into. She feels a heavy weight on her shoulders as she wonders how she'll face her squad as their leader after this. Sinuo calls for Aang to try reasoning with Black Gun since sunset is approaching, but Aang, consumed by a red haze of anger, sprints past them and delivers a powerful kick to the Black Gun leader, slamming him to the ground and knocking off his mask. Aang declares he has never seen such oppressive behavior towards rookies and demands if the leader understands how much effort they put into capturing those demons. Sinuo and Suju are stunned, but Lu feels a surge of pride and even gives Aang a thumbs up for his bold action. The injured Black Gun leader angrily asks if this is how they treat their seniors, then orders his squad to prepare for battle. As the Black Gun squad readies to attack, Lu's team also stands their ground, prepared to fight. Just as the two groups are about to clash, Yao Tang appears, forcefully separating them. Aang realizes there won't be a fight after all, though he admits he was curious to see the level of modern warriors. Radiating a deadly aura, Yao Tang sternly asks if they value survival at all, pointing out that the sun is nearly set and they're still fighting. He demands to know if they intend to offer themselves as food to the demon horde. The Black Gun leader quickly blames Lu's team, accusing them of starting the conflict and knocking off his mask. Lu, unimpressed, calls him a child for tattling to Yao Tang. Suju chimes in, stating she has photographic evidence that proves Black Gun killed the demons they had captured alive. Yao Tang is surprised to hear that Lu's team took on a rank mission. Lu explains what happened, and Yao Tang sighs, saying he understands. He adds that while they might feel Black Gun went too far, they had experienced the same treatment as rookies. How Lu's team responds to it is entirely up to them, but in the end, the only thing that matters is a squad's points. Yao Tang explains that, apart from intentional harm or actions that endanger someone's life, all competitive behavior is allowed, and this rule applies to every city. He reminds them that as warriors, they will face even greater challenges in the future, far beyond basic threats. The only reason he stepped in now is because the sun is setting, and they all need to return to the city. Turning to Black Gun, Yao Tang says he's embarrassed on their behalf that a rookie squad managed to take a rank mission from them, and even beat them up. He tells them to head back and reflect on themselves. As the Black Gun leader walks past Aang, he asks for his name. When Aang gives it, the leader bursts into laughter and tells his squad that Aang shares a name with the greatest warrior. Then, getting serious, he warns Aang that his squad won't let them earn points easily. As he walks away, he declares that by the end of the month, Lu's team will be at the bottom of the leaderboard. He also vows to get back at Aang for injuring him before leaving with his squad. Yao Tang tells Lu and her team that while Black Gun may not be the strongest squad, they are known for their quick execution and will go to any lengths to disrupt or destroy their mission progress. He points out that the leader excels in firearms but didn't use a single one during the earlier encounter. Yao Tang acknowledges that Lu's team isn't weak, but talented warriors are still out there, and if both squads were to go all out, the odds might not be in their favor. Lu reflects on Yao Tang's words but decides to set them aside for now. Later, she admits to Aang that his kick earlier was pretty cool, which catches him by surprise. As they head back to the city, Sinuo asks Aang if he wants to come over to his place for dinner. Aang declines, saying he has plans. When Sinuo presses him about what those plans are, Aang doesn't respond and quietly resolves to capture the three demons himself that night.